So our theme this month, as some of you perhaps will remember, is a way of life that makes a difference. On March 1st, the topic that I talked about was what you see is what you get. And then on March 8th, the topic was have it your way. On March 15th, though, my topic was there's always more to know. And in that talk, I addressed the unfolding challenges that were and are occurring on our planet and with its peoples. We had a sparse attendance that day for obvious reasons. And should we have a significant response from those of you who weren't there on the 15th, I would be happy to repeat that talk this Sunday on Zoom. That's your choice. And otherwise, you'll be able to find it on YouTube in about 2 weeks from now. So either way, you'll have an opportunity to hear it. So if we do not repeat that service from March 15th on this Sunday, then the topic will be let your humanity define your divinity. So tonight's topic is there's still more to know, obviously, from what we see and hear and feel that's going on around us. There's still more for us to know. Just as everything in life is dynamic and ever-changing, divine spirit behind it all is always on the move. And there's always good lessons and reasons for us to pay attention to how fascinating this life experience really is. Which is why each week this month we're looking at the value, the joy, the inspiration of knowing that Spirit is always on the move and always ready to act for our highest and best good. Signs and messages that this is so come to us constantly. Our job is to be open and available to heed them. So, as I mentioned a minute ago, we began this series with the topic, what you see is what you get. And then allowing ourselves to recognize that we're on a spiritual pathway, we're on a spiritual awakening, and we know that until we truly believe something, it never really becomes a part of our existence or our awareness. That is, we won't see it play out in our lives. We'll see what we intend when we believe it. When we believe it so strongly that nothing can prevent us from bringing it into our lives. And isn't that so in these moments that we're experiencing now? How important it is for our strength and our acceptance and our faith to be in place. So I began this month with the ideas, the deeply felt desires, the convictions about what we can choose to do, to be, and to have. For us to remember that our minds are magnificent creative centers. They connect us to unlimited possibilities. They connect us to concepts that we haven't yet experienced, but we can always imagine. So Spirit is on the move everywhere, and in every one, the universal intelligence is operating in and through each and all of us, even though we're not expecting that. And this is so important for us in these moments to stand strong in what we know, in what we have practiced in the past, and what we recognize is a part of having it our way, in a positive way. So, in the earlier talks, we explored what Unity Minister Emmett Fox called the mental equivalent. And I've been talking a lot about the mental equivalent lately, but Fox believed that the secret of successful living is to build the mental equivalent that you want and to rid yourself of the mental equivalents you don't want. And that's just preaching to the choir, isn't it? I mean, these are words that we all want to and accept hearing in what's happening in today's world. A clear understanding, a mental image is what it is that we work on when we talk about mental equivalence. And that as a result, we enable ourselves to bring that into our lives and express it. So how do you create a mental equivalent? Well, by thinking. And most of us are having opportunities for to do that quietly these days, constantly even, and persistently, and to focus on what it is that we want, that we choose, that we accept. And we think about that clearly and definitely so that our focus is on it. And we must have a true interest in bringing that mental equivalent into expressive form in our lives. These two things, clarity and acceptance, are so very important when we are doing our spiritual practice, particularly in these moments when we're doing it one at a time. So, yes, there's always more to know. However, lest you think that that's all there is to it, all there is to successful connection with spirit on the move, today's topic is intended to draw your attention in new directions. And the first one I want to draw your attention to is patience. There's a line in the Course in Miracles that perplexes many of us because it appears to be a contradiction. The line reads, "Infinite patience produces immediate results." Now, for many of us who are patient challenged, and I put myself at the head of that line, that statement is a real pull-me-push-you kind of mixed message. Patience is a key ingredient in nature, and patience is a key ingredient in our personal world. I would also submit that patience is a key ingredient in our spiritual growth. And that God knows patience is a key ingredient for spirit on the move in us. Let's look at patience in the world of nature that we can all remember as children or with our own children. Planting seeds in the springtime that we were told would grow into carrots or radishes or whatever. And sure enough, with the coming of summer, there were little green shoots poking up through the earth. Each day, they grew just a little bit taller, but they didn't look much like carrots or radishes, just green shoots. Sooner or later, though, our childish curiosity would get the best of us, and we just had to tug at those tender little plants, perhaps to see them grow faster, perhaps to see what was underneath. But in any event, that impatience, of course, uprooted the tiny plants and prevented them from becoming what they were destined to be. So too, in our world of emerging spiritual understanding, is there a need for infinite patience in ourselves. If you know with a complete absence of doubt that what you are doing is consistent with your own purposes and that you are involved in accomplishing good things in your life, then you can be at peace with yourself and in harmony with creative spirit. And these are nice thoughts for these days that we're having some time alone with ourselves. That sense of peace is your immediate result, and the time that it takes for outward signs of events to appear is no longer what drives you or worries you. That kind of patience shows up as confidence, as decisiveness, as peaceful satisfaction. And even though you experience moments of frustration, perhaps even discouragement or setback, you can see those simply as part of the process. You realize that you can be patient in those moments, even as Spirit, God, is always patient as it moves in you to bring out your higher self. In fact, in each small victory of understanding is accomplishment, and you get to congratulate yourself because you've weathered your impatience and you stayed the course. And therein lies the meaning in infinite patience produces immediate results. So then the next topic that I'd like to discuss with you this evening is kindness. Many years ago, after 30 years or more of being affiliated with traditional Christianity, as you all know, I left organized religion and I stayed away from it for a long time. I continued to believe in God and in my connection with infinite source, but I could no longer relate to a theology that represented God as judgmental, as demanding, vindictive, or prejudiced. In college, I read Dante's Inferno because I had to, not because I chose to. And from that moment on, I didn't believe that God would create any such place and condemn its creation, humanity, to exist there. Equally, there was something in me that just couldn't accept that heaven was like the first class section on an airplane and that only a select few could get there. For me, the discovery of this teaching, science of mind, religious science, the discovery of this was the great aha. God is a creative intelligence. It makes all things out of itself. It's an energy, a power of expression. It's dynamic, it's unlimited, it's magnificent. It's loving, kind, selfness. Its only desire is to express these limitless attributes. And it can only do that through what it creates. And you know, as we begin to think this way and put this out into an atmosphere that so needs it, just think how you can spread that positive thinking in what could be an easy way. Okay, we just got a little extension on time, thanks to Zoom. Great. So I can keep going for a while more. And with this realization that this is who we truly are and how God creates, and that this can move out from us in a positive, loving, healing way, we recognize that if anything other than these attributes were attached to God, that it was the work of a human thought, a limited form of thinking that sought to reduce God into a human concept. Work with that over the next several days. What brings us to this second quality that I'm talking about now is something more to know today: kindness. Such a simple word, and yet it has infinite potential. In our language and in our culture, we use it to mean gentle, tender-hearted, cordial, sympathetic. In Wayne Dyer's book, Wisdom of the Ages, he writes, "To me, the word kindness is a reminder to allow my big soul to triumph over my little self and to suppress curiosity or fascination with violence of any kind." And I'm going to add suppress curiosity and fascination with lack of health anytime. We need to find the place within us where we know that we are all connected by an invisible organizing intelligence Whether we call it God, Yahweh, Allah, we call it Krishna, we call it Atman, it doesn't really matter. The name doesn't matter. The recognition that it is universal, limitless, and eternal is what we focus on, and the message that we send to those who may have temporarily forgotten that. We need to raise our children to value cooperation over competition. We need to teach our young people to value kindness over violence. We need to select and elect leaders who promote the value of life. And for many people in the world right now, what they might be calling isolation, which we're calling sheltering in place, is a wonderful opportunity to practice this, because many of them have their children at home, don't they? And these are things that they can work on with children and other members of their family. So in the process, here's an opportunity to withdraw our support from movies or TV shows or books or toys or games that promote violence, killing, or maltreatment as a form of entertainment. Our world is ready for this change. Our world is crying out in a variety of ways for these changes. There is a lot of magnificent stuff coming over the internet now, indicating that this crying out on the part of the earth and its residents has been building for a long time. I've talked with some of you about that, about some of the books that have been written clear back in the 1990s and on into the 2000s, of these kinds of changes that this earth must experience. And when I say these kinds of changes, there have been all kinds of indications going on for probably the better part of 30 years. And now there's something out there that's gotten everybody's attention, hasn't it? It's gone global, you might say. I bite my tongue so that I don't say the word viral, but it's gone global. And now we have the attention of millions and millions of people. In short, it's all about recognizing that a life that makes a difference is kind, is loving, is giving, and that all of us contain within us those very virtues. We can create our own heaven or hell by the way we think, the way we express ourselves, and the way we act. By the very act of recognizing that our lives can change in an instant. We can release thoughts and actions of our limited selves and embrace the attributes of God in any moment, in every moment. Kindness is a great place to begin for all of us. So even though we don't have opportunities to be in places with other people very much in these moments, there are a few. And I've seen them, I've experienced them, and I expect you have as well, and I have to tell you my story of Kapuna Hour at Foodland in Waimea. And first of all, how uncluttered the aisles were, even though there were people in them, and how gracious the seniors were in maintaining that space between themselves and others, how polite they were, greeting each other, smiling, saying good morning or aloha, and standing and waiting for somebody to go around them so that they didn't come too close. It was a wonderful demonstration. And I was so proud of my Kapuna sisters and brothers where that's concerned, because this is the very thing that perhaps begins to unfold out of what's going on now in the world. I have a lot more to say that I'm going to save for Sunday, because our time, even though we got a slight extension, is running out. But here's what I want to say to you in closing for tonight. That these are some of the ideas of what else there is to know, and you'll hear the others on Sunday. See, that's reeling you in, isn't it? You don't want to miss Sunday. But more things to know as we awaken to the realization that ours is a life that makes a difference, each one of us individually. These are just a few of the ways that God shows up for us by means of us and in us. These are attributes of God: patience, kindness, and the others that you'll hear on Sunday. These are our attributes as well. We've brought them with us when we came into this plane of existence. And now is one of the times in our lives that Spirit is moving in us by expressing through us its magnificent qualities, one of which is our trust and our faith that we are well, that those around us heal, and that this is a positive outcome in this world, which is obviously making statements, and they're getting increasingly loud and clearer that this needs to be unfolding. There's always more for us to know. There are countless other qualities that we can watch for, that we can listen for, that we can experience and talk about with each other. Life is the stage on which we get to try them. Well, so does everybody. But sometimes somebody has to take the lead, don't they? And demonstrate that in order for others to follow as well. For some people, there is only the desire to reenact the same quality over and over, never trying anything new. For others, the desire to know more, to try something new, to grow spiritually is always at work, always pulling them to new heights of experience. So you can claim that for yourself. I can claim that for yourself. And we can continue to know that that goes out from us so that others claim that for themselves as well. And as a result, find that they too live a life that makes a real difference, and that difference is a positive difference. And so it is. So if you would like to unmute yourself, the first thing that I want to do is I want to read something that we passed around to everybody who was in the room.
Can you get that off the wall for me? Can you get that off the wall for me? Over note.
Yeah, just talk to us. Just talk to us, okay? This is something that I passed out to those who were in the room on the 15th, for them to read for themselves, for them to take home if they chose. I'm not sure whether it's up on Facebook now, but I know Helen took a copy of it so that she could put it up. But I want to read this to you as a close. Oh, you have it, don't you? I saw that, Tamara. All right. So you can read it right along with me. But I'd like you to have this, so it will be on YouTube. It will be on Facebook, either posted by Helen or by Arliss, whoever gets to it first. But just think about these words. There is one source, one cause, one life, and one mind. This is God. My health and well-being are this one life functioning freely in me as me. I praise this health. I rejoice in this health. I am this health, which is spiritual, perfect, and free. No guilt or fear in my subconscious mind can interrupt or affect this health. I declare its permanency, even as I know that the spirit within me is permanent. And so it is.
It is.
And so it is.
Okay, well, since they haven't shut us down, any any questions or quick responses?